Good morning, Jackednnerdy fans. Jeremy here with my non-spoiler review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Before I jump into that review, obviously, as always, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on a video. And if you do enjoy our content, please make sure you give these videos a thumbs up. That lets us know that you enjoy the content that we're putting out there, and it encourages us to keep going. So, with that out of the way, if you didn't know so already, this is the third and final installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, written and directed by James Gunn, as he has now moved on to the co-head of DC Studios for Warner Brothers. Also, if you didn't already know so, they also announced very early on in the piece that this is the final movie that we are going to see all of the original Guardians of the Galaxy characters together in the same film, or together as the Guardians as we know it. So, going into this movie, I'm pretty sure, as all of you will agree, we all have very high expectations for this film. These films have done extremely well at the box office and have had raving reviews from both audiences and critics. So I personally had very high expectations going into this film. Also, from the marketing that we saw, I also had very high expectations that this was going to be a very emotional roller coaster of a film. That being said, also from all the marketing going into this film, I had no idea what the story was actually going to be about. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys got an idea of the story from the trailers and the marketing, good on you. But me personally, I had no idea what to expect from the story going into this film. Which was it was a nice change, I'd have to say. I actually liked walking into the cinema with my drink and my popcorn, sitting down to watch a movie where I knew who the characters were, but I had no idea what adventure they were going to be going on this time around. So it was really quite refreshing. So, if you watched my out of the theatre initial reaction, this is a very, very emotional film. 1 minute you're laughing, 1 minute you're crying, next minute you're angry. It is a complete and utter roller coaster of a film when it comes to emotions. As we've come to expect from these Guardians of the Galaxy films, there's lots of comedic tones, lots of comedic elements. There are funny moments, there are quick one-liners and all these sorts of things that we've come to expect from these characters. But also there's a lot of deep character development. Like in the first film, it's this group of ragtag individuals learning to trust each other and coming together as a bit of a makeshift family. In the second film, it was Star-Lord, finding out where he comes from and these connections to his mum and his dad, and then father figures and things like that. This film is no different. There is a story. I'm not going to give anything away, but there is a very, very deep and emotional story involved. Lots of character development, which I really, really liked. Getting to know other characters in a bit more detail and their backstories. It was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed the story and the character development and the way that James Gunn directed this film and wrote this film. I'm a huge James Gunn fan. I love a lot of his works, not just with Marvel, but his DC work with Peacemaker, I should say. And then his more independent films and things like that, or standalone films. Sean Gunn, his brother, who does a lot of motion capture. He does the motion capture for Rocket. He also plays Caglan in the Guardians films. Kraglin. I love his work as well. I love it when the two of them team up together and work together and collaborate. It's fantastic. The visual effects of this film, again, being a Guardians of the Galaxy film, it's full of bright colors and visuals and all of that. Again, hands down, is absolutely fantastic. The cinematography and the visual effects are absolutely brilliant. Nothing to complain about there whatsoever. Casting, of course, you've got your normal Guardians characters. You've got Chris Pratt as Peter Quill or Star-Lord. You've got Zoe Saldana as Gamora. Karen Gillan as Nebula, who I've loved her character development from the very first Guardians of the film all the way through to like Guardians 2, Avengers Endgame, and all of that. I've really grown to really, really like Nebula's character, and I love the character arc there. You got Vin Diesel as Groot, Bradley Cooper as Rocket, and Dave Bautista as Drax. As I mentioned, you got Kraglin as, Sean Gunn as Kraglin. You have lots of as you've come to expect from these films, lots of cameos popping up. Some returning characters from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You got Sylvester Stallone coming back, and a few others. Couple of the real big ones, the big new names coming into this was you've got Will Poulter, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, coming in as Adam Warlock, and Chukwudi Iwuji. I'm probably butchering his name horribly. Chadwick plays, obviously, the High Evolutionary, who I suppose is like kind of the big antagonist in this film. His character was really interesting in the sense that you just really, really... He's not a likable character whatsoever. You really, really do quite despise him in this film. He's not a likable character at all in the comics, and he's definitely not a likable character in this film. Will Poulter playing Adam Warlock. There was a lot of hype going into this film about how he'd put on all of this muscle mass and was really in really great physical shape, which he is. He's in fantastic physical shape. And I am quite a fan of his previous works. I don't think they really did the character justice though in this film, and that's just my opinion. I was expecting a lot more from his character, and I just felt he was a bit wishy-washy, considering he's supposed to be one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel comic franchise, as I believe. So I was a bit, let down by his not his performance. His performance was really good. I think it was just the character itself and how it was written and developed during this movie. I was definitely expecting a lot more. Also, Michael Rooker came back in a very, very brief moment as Yondu. He is absolutely hands down one of my most favourite characters of this franchise, and it was just nice to see him just for that one little split second. And another mention that I have to do is Cosmo, the space dog. I love Cosmo, the space dog, and they really let her have a bit more screen time and just kind of show off a little bit, which I absolutely loved. I was so glad that they gave Cosmo the space dog a bit more screen time, and she was absolutely adorable, and I loved her. So look, cast, as I said, look, casting, you cannot really fault these movies. They've got an all-star cast, and as I mentioned before, there's lots of character development with the characters that we've already come to know: Nebula, Star-Lord, Gamora, all of that. But also they gave Drax quite a couple of really nice moments as well. Because he's always been this kind of very one-dimensional kind of character, so they really gave him a few really good moments as well in this film. So look, hands down across the board, I really enjoyed this film. It is a fantastic film. Be prepared, because it is a real emotional roller coaster. I'll admit it, I was in tears a couple of times throughout this movie. I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to these sorts of films about family and finding oneself and growing and all that kind of stuff. So I'll admit it, I was a sucker and I was in tears a couple of times during this movie, but I expected that going into this film. I expected, before I even went in, before I even bought my ticket, I knew I was gonna be a blubbering mess. So now, coming down to the brass tacks. So yes, this is a great film. Yes, you need to go and see it in the cinemas. At the moment, it's got a 80% Rotten Tomatoes score, and it's got an IMDB score of 8.3 out of 10. I agree wholeheartedly with those rankings. I wouldn't change them at all. Where does it sit in the ranking of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise? It's not the best out of the three. In my personal opinion, number 2 is the best, followed by number 1, and then this would sit in third place. But that's not a bad thing, because all 3 films are fantastic films. It's just a purely ranking of personal preference. I really enjoyed the second film immensely. I connected to the material quite a bit in it. So that's just my opinion. Personally, I rank this as third, in the trilogy. But hit me up in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Did you enjoy this film as much as I did? Did you not enjoy this film? How would you guys rank the Guardians of the Galaxy films? Which one was your favourite? Which one was your least favourite? I really want to know what you guys out there in the Jacked and Nerdy community think. So hit me up in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. And that is my non-spoiler review of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And hang around, because we've got a big month of films coming out. We've got 2 movies coming out next week. We've got Love Again and Hypnotic, which is the new Ben Affleck film, which I'm really excited to see. A week after that, we got Fast and Furious 10, and then we also got Renfield and The Machine coming out as well. So make sure you stay tuned. We got heaps of content coming out over the next couple of weeks. And until next time, guys, stay jacked and stay nerdy.